Good morning everyone. Today in our lecture video, I am going to discuss explanation of few important lines of one of the most popular romantic poems, Tintern Abbey, composed by William Wordsworth. We all know William Wordsworth is one of the most remarkable poets of romantic era, and he is often called the worshipper of nature or the high priest of nature. Tintern Abbey is considered one of the masterpieces of William Wordsworth, which shows his profound love for nature and his changing outlook towards nature from his childhood to his matured age. Fine. The full title of the poem is Lines Composed a Few Miles Above Tintern Abbey on Revisiting the Banks of the Wye during a tour July 13, 1798. You can note down this for the objective questions or the multiple choice questions also. Important points which we will discuss in this video: Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey, based on memory, nature and mysticism; the power of nature in Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey; and romanticism and mysticism in Tintern Abbey. In July 1798, Wordsworth wrote the poem Tintern Abbey for lyrical ballads. As we all know, lyrical ballads was the beginning of romantic revival in England, and it was written by William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge in collaboration. So in 1798, William Wordsworth wrote this poem, and this poem moved away from the focus on reason and intellect of 18th century. 18th century was based on reason and intellect, but Wordsworth gave a breakaway and he emphasized on emotions and feelings in this poem. This poem was important for romantic movement as it recognized the power of nature to create and to sustain imagination. It showed Wordsworth's talent in pantheism and mysticism, which are often interrelated in romantic poetry. So we'll start the poem with its text and we'll discuss the explanation of these important lines also. So the poem begins, 5 years have passed, 5 summers with the length of 5 long winters. So now the poet is talking about 5 years ago when he visited this Wye river, the bank of Wye river, which is an important river in England. So William Wordsworth visited Wye river with his dear sister Dorothy 5 years ago, and he is talking about those 5 years back period. 5 years have passed, 5 summers. 5 years have passed, definitely 5 summers also passed, with the length of 5 long winters. Now the question arises, why Wordsworth uses the term 5 long winters? Because in England, winters seem unbearable and intolerable, and the things which are unbearable seem longer. So 5 long winters. And again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs. And today again I am hearing, I am listening these water sounds which are rolling from the mountain spring with a soft inland murmur. Means this island is murmuring soft sound and I can hear them even today. Fine. Do I behold these steep and lofty cliffs? Now he is recollecting, he can observe or see these deep and lofty cliffs, means fountains, that on a wild secluded scene impress, and I can feel these scenes, this landscape in a secluded form, means in a lonely place, wild place. Thoughts of more deep seclusion, and these places recollect me or remind me deep seclusion when I was far from this natural beauty, and I can recollect that seclusion also, which was really deep for me. Seclusion means a lonely time which he was spending since last 5 years. Landscape with the quiet of the sky. So now he is describing the beauty of the landscape. These beauteous forms through a long absence have not been to me as is landscape to a blind man's eyes. Now what he wants to say, this is beautiful. Every object of nature is beautiful, but I was absent from this place till last 5 years. Physically, I could not visit this place since last 5 years, but this absence could not diminish my love for this natural object. Why? Have not been to me as is landscape to a blind man's eye. Though I was not present here since last 5 years, but this landscape is not far from me as a blind man cannot see. Why? Because I was recollecting these beautiful objects even in my lonely places, or when I was in city or I was in town. I could recollect everything in my mind, so it was not far from me. I wish to remind you, my students, the definition of Wordsworth's poetry. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling, emotion recollected in tranquility. This is the definition given by William Wordsworth in Preface to Lyrical Ballads. And this poem, Tintern Abbey, beautifully intensifies his own concept of poetry, because he is saying, when I was not here, I was recollecting these beautiful objects at my place in city. So I was not far from this beauty. But oft in lonely rooms, often in my lonely rooms. Lonely rooms means when I was alone in my rooms mid the din of towns and cities. Where? In towns and in city. I was sitting in my lonely room amidst the town and city. I have owed to them. Still then I was recollecting them. I owed to them. I recollecting them. I was possessing them in hours of weariness. When I was exhausted, I was recollecting this beauty of nature, and this beauty of nature at that time also was giving me sensation sweet. I was feeling sweet sensation to recollect this beauty of nature felt in the blood. Where? In my blood. I was feeling this sensation in my blood and felt along the heart, and this sensation was crossing from my blood to the heart. As blood circulates in the entire body, this sensation was circulating in my entire body when I was recalling or recollecting this beauty of nature. Passing even into my purer mind means this feeling or this sweet sensation was passing from my blood to my heart and to my purer mind. My mind became very pure when I was feeling this pleasant beauty of nature with tranquil restoration, and I restored my tranquility. What is tranquility? Inner peace of mind. Means though I was not present here at the bank of the Wye river, I was in city, but in my rooms also I could feel the beauty of nature, and after feeling this beauty of nature, my peace of mind restored at once. Feeling too of unremembered pleasure, and I was feeling the same pleasure which now I forgot though, the same pleasure which I used to feel 5 years ago. Okay, the poem is really beautiful and it is showing Wordsworth's love for nature, how he could recollect nature even in city and towns. Okay, now one of the most important stanzas of this poem, which I am going to explain to you. The sounding cataract haunted me like a passion. Now he is telling you how his love for nature evolved from his childhood to his matured age. Sounding cataract haunted me like a passion. Cataract means fountain, cliffs. So these fountains, these cliffs or any beautiful object of nature haunted me like a passion. It was a passion for me at that time. Tall rock, mountain, deep and gloomy wood. Rocks, we all know, tall rocks, mountains and deep and dark wood, forest. Their color, their forms were then to me an appetite. It was only a hunger for me. It means it was a physical hunger, physical passion. Means when he was a child, nature was only a hunger, a kind of passion for him. Feeling and love, he was developing gradually his feeling and love for natural objects that had no need of remoter charm by thought supplied. But there was no thought supplied for beauty of the nature. It was only through his physical senses. He could feel nature through physical senses. There was no thought supplied inside his mind. That time is past, but now I have crossed that period. That time is gone. And all its aching joy are no more. The joys which I used to feel in the company of nature are now no more. Means I have changed my thought gradually. All its dizzy raptures, not for this faint, nor mourn, nor murmur, other gifts have followed. Means things are changing in my mind somehow. I don't know why, but it is changing with the passing years. A presence that disturbed me with the joy of elevated thought. Now I started to, yes. So now he says, I have learned to look on nature not as in the hours of thoughtless youth. Now I started to look nature in a different phase. Now I am not a thoughtless youth. Earlier I was a thoughtless youth and nature was just a physical hunger for me. But now I am hearing still sad music of humanity. Now I can relate nature with human and I can hear the sad music of humanity inside the objects of nature. So now the writer is feeling a kind of connection between humanity and nature. Nature and human beings are become same now. Mind. So now this is the second stage when the writer started to feel a music of humanity in nature. Earlier it was a physical hunger, but now he started to feel a music inside nature. A presence that disturbs me with the joy of elevated thought. And now this is the third stage when he has started to feel a presence, a divine presence in natural objects that disturb me with the joy of elevated thoughts. A sense sublime. What is this? This is a presence that is really sublime. It's a lofty, a kind of great sublimity in this presence. Something far more deeply interfused. It is more deep. Whose dwelling is in the light of setting sun and the round ocean and the living air. And this divine spirit I can feel in every object of nature, whether it is setting sun or round ocean or living air or blue sky. And in the mind of man, see the interconnection of nature and human beings, and the same divine presence I can feel in the mind of man. So generally we say, कण कण में भगवान बसे हैं. The same experience Wordsworth is sharing in this poem. He can feel a divine presence in every object of nature, and it is binding not only nature but also the minds of men. Means this divine presence is present everywhere. It is omnipresent. A motion and a spirit. Now I can feel a motion, a divine spirit that impels all thinking things, which influence all thoughts of human beings. All objects of all thought roll through all things. Means everywhere this divine presence is present. Therefore, I am still a lover of meadows. Today again I am a lover of meadows. I have not changed my love for natural objects. Still today I am a lover of meadows, woods, mountains, and all that we behold from this green earth. And whatever I am watching on this green earth, I love all these natural objects. And what perceive well please to organize in nature and language of sense. And I can perceive a language also in this nature. And now nature has become everything for Wordsworth, as he says, the anchor of my purest thoughts, the nurse, the guide, the guardian of my heart, soul of all my moral being. So now nature has become everything for Wordsworth. It is the anchor of his thoughts, his nurse, his guide, his guardian, and soul, and a teacher. So this is a long journey of Wordsworth changing attitude towards nature. In his childhood, nature was only a physical passion for him. He feels very happy to see the objects of nature and to wander in the company of nature. In next phase, he started to listen the sad music of humanity inside the objects of nature. In next phase, he felt a divine presence in nature, and now nature is everything for me. It's teacher, guide, guardian, mother, and all sense of his moral beings. So Wordsworth wants to say, we can learn everything from nature, and nature is the best teacher of human beings. Every object of nature can give us moral lesson. So we are not supposed to go anywhere to learn humanity. Humanity is present in every object of nature. So this is the changing outlook of Wordsworth towards nature. The poem is really masterpiece of William Wordsworth, creative genius, which makes him lover of nature, worshipper of nature, high priest of nature. His study of nature is really profound and commendable, which make Wordsworth distinguished from other writers of romantic age. So this is enough for today's lecture. I hope you better understood the concept of Tintern Abbey through these important lines, and it will be helpful for your examination, whether it is descriptive or objective, multiple. If you have not subscribed my channel, kindly subscribe for more informative videos on English literature. Thanks for watching.